played that Aaron Rodgers soundbite after the big Sunday night win and how he's there for my team. It's that same thing here, you know? I mean, everybody talks about it because I'm fortunate enough to have done this for a long time when I work with a lot of former players. They don't miss playing as much as they do the locker room, that camaraderie, right? Because there's no place like a locker room or a dugout, wherever you want to call it in sports, whatever that is, that place where no matter where you come from, no matter what your background is, no matter what you believe in, you put that all aside for one common goal. And I think that you'll never find that in any other walk of, no matter what you do, you'll never be able to find something that replaces that as a former athlete.
Yeah. I mean, it's so well respected by everybody to be the captain and just what he gave. And you know, a guy who's missed so many games, but so you look at that deal he signed in 2013, 8 years for $138 million. A lot of people are going to say, oh, man, was that a bad contract? Well, you know, to me, there's a difference. And my son talked about it this morning on his show, and I completely agree. There is a deal that you sign and that person underperforms.
Right.
Where you say, boy, we really blew it on that one. There's a deal you sign and the person then starts getting injuries.
Correct.
That's something that they can't control.
Completely different.
And it wasn't like you signed him in 2013 coming off of, oh man, he's been nicked up. You look, he got into the bigs with the Mets in 2004, played 69 games. And then from 2005 to 2012, save for 1 year, all those other years were 144 to 160 games that he played. He was on the field. He was playing. Then he signed that big contract, and unfortunately, in 2013, he signed it, and his last game was May of 2016. You're talking back, neck, shoulder injuries where he was asked, can you keep going? And he just said, basically, the doctors don't think it's going to get any better, so he's going to have to walk away from the game. So there's no way you can sit there and say, man, that was a horrible deal they signed him to back then, based off the fact that he was available for them all the time and then started getting hurt after that. And like I said, so well respected in what he has done. Still owed a lot of money. Still owed $27 million over the next 2 years for this. But it's nice because he said he wants his daughter to see him play. So he's going to get on the field September 29th, back at third base. So it'll be a very cool way for him to close out his career and for the fans to let him know just how they feel about him as well.
Yeah, and again, we were talking about a guy who was once voted the face of baseball. I mean, he wasn't a good player, Mike. He was a great player. And now David Wright, for better or for worse, and for his sake, it's probably worse, he joins that list of what might have been. I mean, like, where is he on the list?
And still a long time. He played 13 years, you know, in that big league uniform.
Yeah.
So it's not like he got like 4 or 5 years in and then he was done.
Right. It makes you wonder how great he could have been and the things he could have done if he had stayed healthy, because there are always those guys. And the one that immediately comes to mind in the NFL, and he ended up going to the Hall of Fame, was Terrell Davis.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Terrell was still at the peak of his game when he was running for the Denver Broncos. And again, the way he got hurt was it's the freakiest way. He was hustling back after an interception to try and make a tackle, and an offensive lineman was also hustling back and sort of clipped him, and that's what blew out his knee.
Yeah.
There's a list of guys. Grant Hill, the same way, who was just induced in the Basketball Hall of Fame.
But so
many guys robbed by injuries.
I even look at guys before they even got to show they were great, like a Greg Oden.
Yep.
You know, Greg Oden, the top pick in the draft, the big center from Ohio State, and just right off the bat, you know, lower body injuries that just took his career away. So at least some of these players, you got to see their greatness for a little bit, but it just wasn't sustained over a number of years because of injuries. But it's guys like that came in with so much hype and that got injured right away, and they never got to even see any of their fruits of their labor at all.
Right, and that's why when we see these careers, these longevities, what LeBron is doing in the NBA, what Brady is doing
Jerry
in the NFL,
Rice had done.
Jerry Rice. Just appreciate it, man, because Joe Thomas, for crying out loud, never missed a snap. I mean, again, a broken shoelace could have ended that, and it took his arm basically to fall off with that bicep tear.
And as far as injury, and even I've heard Jerry Rice admit, there's luck involved.
Of course there
is luck involved in having that longevity and not getting that major injury, because it is just one bad step, one bad hit, one freaky play, and all of a sudden you're rehabbing a major injury that can affect you on down the road. So while preparation is huge, putting your body in the best position possible to sustain anything like that, and then there is luck in not having to go through that or having anything like that happen to you. You're, like I said, I'm not saying it's all luck. I understand the work involved, but there's no doubt it's part of it.
Look, in any streak, there's going to be some things that
Cal
are
Ripken.
just going to go your way.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
They're just going to go your way. You can say, I prepared for this and I prepared for that.
Yeah.
No, anything that involves a lengthy amount of time in a physical contact or collision sport in football, contact sport in basketball, there's an element of luck that goes into it. You can have all the skill in the world.
You can.
Things are going to have to bounce your way. And by the way, speaking of luck, like he said, he still owed $27 million.
Yeah, $27 million.
Nothing will ever top the Bobby Bonilla contract.
Yep.
Again, Bobby Bonilla, I think, stopped playing for the Mets in the early 90s or maybe mid 90s. He's going to collect a check for $1.193, almost $1.2 million.
Yeah, go ahead and round that up.
$1.2 million from the New York Mets every July 1st until 2035.
Yeah.
Until 2035.
Good way to structure a deal.
That's not luck. That's skill.
Yeah.
That's smarts on Bobby Bonilla to take that deferred money paid out. It's like that line from The Jerk where Steve Martin's having to write all those checks. Yeah. They write that check every year to Bobby Bonilla until 2035.